Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Operation Grow Show. It's season 4, episode 11. This week we're going to have a quick catch up and roundup on progress on the difference in the growth styles that we were trying out from Tyler, and get an update from Lefty as well. And as we are starting to approach the end of season 4, and season 5 creeping up, which is likely to be starting around early January, and that being the breeding project, we can start discussing some of the ins and outs that setting the stage, I would say, and getting some of the initial bits and pieces going for what we're going to do there, and yeah, discuss some of the finer points of how the hell we start to classify and track things, which is going to be an interesting challenge. But without further ado, how is everybody doing? Let's start with, let's see who's out there. Raptor, how you doing, sir?
Doing pretty well. Thanks for asking, Pete. Yeah, glad you caught me right after the bong hit there. Great timing. Great timing. I'm all tuned up, ready to go. Pretty excited to hear about the breeding project. Yeah, I got my new tent in. Gonna have my new light sent in. Basically gonna DIY all of it. Got a friend, Purple Thumb OG, that said he would help me out with all of it, putting it together. Never done it before. I've only looked into it when I first started getting into everything. So like 3, 4 years back, looking into like cobs. That's as close as I get to like modern LED tech. So yeah,
hmm
pretty excited. Gonna have that all set up so I'll be able to actually participate with all you guys and do a little bit more. All I've had was just this 3x3 for the last 3 years, basically coming up on 3 years. So yeah, pretty excited to expand and
Nice.
just become a better grower slowly but surely. Been saving up 2 years for this part of my just growth on all of it. So yeah, stoked. How is everyone else doing?
Yeah, doing excellent over here. Getting a little office, but again, as always, the British weather is what it is. Uh, yeah, no change there then. Hey, Lefty, how you doing? So, how you getting on the new spot? You all be properly settled in now and that. How are things going?
We're getting there. Of course, there's always boxes to be unloaded, but for the most part, the living space is pretty good. Everything's going good, man. Plants are still doing well. Really packing on the frost, waiting for them to start putting on a little bit of mass.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the mother went, probably about next week, I should start seeing the buds swell up here, and they probably got about 3 weeks, 2.5, 3 weeks left, and they should be ready to go. So about another week or so, and I'll be done with the nutrients, and we'll be flushing.
Excellent. And how's the? How much space do you have left? Can you slide a piece of Bible paper in between the lights and the top of those plants, man? You still got
Yeah,
room.
I got really. There's some branches that kind of go up to about the level of the lights, and I basically got them kind of in the safe zones in between the lights. Um, but I've cropped a lot of them to where they're hanging down far enough to where I shouldn't have any burn or bleaching issues. Um, I've had to do a lot of spinning and adjusting to make sure that they're not getting burnt. Underground saw them yesterday real quick. So yeah, I'm really lucky to have the lights that I do in there. I'd be screwed.
Yeah, exactly. And Tyler, sir, how are things in Canada?
uh, Cold, wet, and dreary over here.
Hey, snap.
Yeah. Other than that, plants are doing good. But with week 5 going on week 6, I figure about 3 more weeks to go, so 2 more weeks of nutrients and about 10-day flush. Yeah. Other than that, just men on the knee.
Actually, speaking of your plants, so this is now super cropped, left alone, just popped, and other one just defoliated, stripped. Yep, this
That
is
one's just left alone. That's the
left
control.
alone. Okay, cool, cool. That's not looking bad here.
It's actually the tallest of the batch, but it's got the smallest buds of the batch.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Is that the same one? Yeah.
Yep, that's just the top of it.
Frosty, getting there. And which one is this then?
So the three in the front here, that would be the pop and twist, and the one behind it to the right is the monster crop.
So these three here,
And the one behind that one, yep.
and this one over here.
Yep. That's the pop and twist.
Pop and twist. Okay.
It's the shortest, but it's probably got some of the biggest colas on it so far.
Oh, let me clear that off. Oh, shit. Wow, that's a decent size bud.
That's the leaf strip.
Okay. That's not bad. Not bad at all. Either that or you got really small hands, dude.
Either way, it works.
And so is that the one that was left alone? That's the...
No, that's the monster crop.
Oh, that's
that
the
thing's
monster
kept coming
crop.
back up, yeah.
Jeez, okay, wow. That's impressive.
If you see in the bottom right of that picture there, though, there's the one bud that keeps sitting against the wall. Right on the right-hand corner.
Down here.
Yeah, that one, it's flattened out because the tank keeps sucking in because of the negative pressure.
Yeah, they're looking good.
Why don't you get a little 4-inch fan, dude, and pump a little bit more air into there, and that won't
I'm
be
cheap.
Dude, you can get one for like $20.
Yeah, I know. It's in the goal.
Yeah, those are good. And remind me again, this is...
That is the pop and twist.
Yeah, and it was golden...
Yep, golden goat.
Golden goat. Yeah. What's the terpene profile you're getting off that at the moment?
That one is actually lemony, believe it or not. And a bit of funk. That's about it.
And a bit of funk. Excellent. No, those are looking great, man. Oh yeah, and let's see who else we got on the show here with us. Oh, we've got GMF. How you doing, sir?
Excellent, thank you. Couldn't be prouder to be here amongst you fine gentlemen.
Good.
I'm doing good. Good to see you. Hi, chat. So, just getting ready to start my seed pop for the project. So we're gonna go select. I think I'm gonna do them in batches of 5. So just 5 random beans out of the little cup I've saved forever. Pull them out of and let them sit for 24 hours, and in the dirt they go, and we'll see what happens. And if nothing happens, then I'll start researching popping methods. That's about all that's new and exciting with me. Oh, I'm working on making a little... Okay, for any of you out there who ever buy the 5-gallon water jugs, and they come with those little caps on the top of them, I buy those for making beer because just spring water makes a really good beer. I don't have to worry about taking the chlorine or chloramine on it. It's got the mineral content I'm looking for. So I'll buy that, and I have these caps laying around. So I sealed it back up, put a hole through the middle of it, wrapped some soft wire around it. Now I'm going to put it on a plant and try to air clone with it. So the cup will hold my soil. And now instead of trying to clone off the plant, I'm just going to clone on the plant. So I'll post some pictures when I get it finished. I have a prototype built, but I'm going to see if it holds on the plant okay.
Nice.
That's about all that's new and exciting in my world, to be honest.
And have you had any? Oh, hang on. Before we diverge into more conversation, underground. So how you doing? Hiding away in the shadows there.
What's going on, man? I'm doing well. How's chat? How's everybody in chat?
I think everybody in chat's doing pretty damn good by the looks of it. Got quite a good few people there. 28 all dialed in on Saturday afternoon, evening, wherever you're from. um, so yeah, for the breeding project with everybody who's here. Yeah, I mean, I know what the Mystery Growers plans are. That's going to be what will go probably by more of its original name because it's easier and takes up less space, which was K4LV2, which was colloquially known as Pete's Poison. That will be crossed with the Afghan Kush, with the aim of, I'm told, to bring down the flowering time a bit, see if they can reduce the flowering time even a bit further, and try and create a somewhat larger bud structure. I've got a feeling that, yeah, maybe that's one of the downsides when you, well, we'll see what happens. That's going to be the interesting bit. So yeah, and Lefty, you're doing that. I keep forgetting what you're doing, dude. You're muted.
I thought I was muted and I fucking wasn't. You know what I mean? I'm doing Banana OG by Arise. And basically what my goal is to get basically banana terps into the Arise and keep the potency of the Arise. And I'm more of the wider leafed Arise, more of the Daybreaker side of it with the really chemi phenos. Just because Banana OG is more of a cushy type plant. The Chem Dog kind of grows that way as well. So that should be a good mix. But that's basically what my plan is: just bring those banana terps onto the Arise, the Arise potency. I had a pretty good seed pop. I'm like, I think I'm at like day 8 after they popped their heads above. But I had pretty good seed pop. I had a couple that didn't come through. I had a couple that had to scuff up. And but yeah, not too bad. Everything's looking pretty good.
Cool. Thanks. Sorry, hey, I've got to practice heavy breathing somewhere, Tyler.
But I think I'm gonna go a different direction, kind of than what everybody else is gonna go. I might do a reversal instead of going the straight regular in breeding. You know, the two sides in breeding. I might do a reversal and lock in with reversals and back crosses.
Okay. Yeah. I've been told that that Afghan has like an old school Amsterdam coffee shop smell to it. It'd be very interesting to see if that overpowers that distinctive Durban poison aroma. That'd be very interesting indeed to see.
And for those of us who don't remember, can you, A, I am excited to see what yours looks like and to see if it looks a lot like the one I use, the Deep Chunk. But B, for those of us who don't remember exactly, can you refresh us on what Pete's Poison is? Because it's not straight Durban, right?
No. It's a Durban poison skunk #1 cross that was then crossed with Durban poison that then got crossed with Royal Queen Seeds special kush.
Excellent.
But yeah, in that point, it still really has a lot of the Durban. I mean, it did keep a lot of the Durban poison profile. It just doesn't look like it. It's still got it's got thin leaves. It doesn't have as broad leaves as the Afghan Kush, that's for sure. But if you compare it to something like Lemon Jeffrey, it's much, Golden Goat, those leaves are much thinner. They definitely indicate more of a sativa leaning, and in that sense, I think the Pete's Poison K4LV2 has got a bit more of that hybrid kind of 50-50 look to it. So it sits somewhere in the middle, definitely. Yeah. And then Tyler, what were you doing for yours? You're muted.
There we go. I'm crossing the AK-39 as a female to the Storm Shadow by Irie Genetics, hoping to get some bigger bud structure and just a hardier plant in general. And I'm also doing CBD hash plant by Seedsman to Storm Shadow as well. Just trying to get the same thing, a hardier plant, and possibly from there going to a 2-to-1 ratio of CBD plant, but that's a little bit of work in progress.
Nice. And then, of course, Raptor yourself. So, what about you?
I've been considering a couple things. I have scarlet begonias in veg currently, so I can still take samples of that, maybe even just cross it onto itself, maybe even do like a feminized, like through feminization.
Mhm.
And that's mostly because after being completely oblivious to how awesome, how rare it is, like a lot of people have been telling me, oh wow, you pop that, a little gleam in their eye, just like, oh yeah, they get a lot friendlier. I'll just say that. So yeah, it's just mainly for keeping stuff for myself, so that I just have it in my like genetic archives, if you will. Yeah, it's mostly just for that, just making sure I have that in my back pocket. I have a couple, I think 6 seeds left, extra, to just do a fresh run. So I don't really want to work with those seeds. I'll keep them there until I'm ready to like get a little more serious, but I want to pop them within a year or so, just
Mhm.
for viability's sake. Make sure that I can, because I've had the Agent Orange pack that I had for like 3 years, probably 4 years, with how long it was made and everything like that. It didn't do so well. Like I only got 1 to pop out of 5, but it is what it is. It could have just been me doing improper storage, could have been improper storage in general. So yeah, I would really like to have that just in my back pocket and see what I can do with it if I can find anything nice out of it. Yeah, just that. Looking into keeping seeds for myself after listening to GMF talk so much about like, ooh, I paid so much for these seeds. I feel, or like in his words, he feels that might as well do something. The money off of it, and I guess he doesn't feel comfortable moving on forward with something until it's fully, you did all the work you can do. So yeah, I'm super excited to learn from GMF on all the stuff that he does, and yeah, learn to basically back
Just
myself
learn from
up.
my mistakes. Don't learn from anything I do. Learn from my mistakes. That's where the good
Yeah.
stuff is.
I'll keep a notebook. GMF fails.
Like that male cob that tastes like crab.
If you're going to apprentice under him, you have to taste the same shit. Just letting you know.
Yeah, I get that crabby male plant flavor. Yeah.
With some crab terps.
Yeah, crab terps.
Had another interesting experimental fail. If anyone's interested in hearing about that.
Yeah, it depends what it
Okay.
is.
So
Brought up,
we always
yeah.
talk about the auxins, the hormones, everything like that, right? And they're water soluble because you can take willow bark, things like that, and basically get a rooting compound from it, correct? So we all just use things that are water soluble. So I thought to myself, well, everyone says these are all concentrated in the tips. So one day I just cut the tips off a bunch of plants I was going to kill anyway and feed to the worms. And then I put them in some water, extracted it for 24 hours. And then I took a bunch of clones that I was just going to feed to the worms anyway. So I cut some clones and I put them in that water to see if that would actually have any noticeable difference versus a control of plain water. And there was a drastic difference, but not the one I was hoping to see. Instead of throwing roots, what it did was, and I'm assuming this was probably an enzymatic reaction, but it literally destroyed everything that was in the water. And not with bacterial growth or anything like that, but it literally chewed apart the cellulose so that the stems that were soaking in water were just strands of fiber. So that was kind of neat just to learn what's in the tips. It's apparently a ton of enzymes.
So that'd be good for pouring into using as pouring that into the soil.
Breaking down your root
Diluted.
mass. Yeah.
Probably just also like the dead root mass in particular, it'd probably go for mostly.
So I've been
Initially.
pouring that water. Funny enough, when I was changing that out every day, because I would take and make a 10% solution of that hormone water with regular water. So I was just soaking them in a 10% solution. That every time I changed that water out, I dumped it into my recycling tote, my recycling cooler. So.
Nice. And then underground. So what about you? What are you planning for the breeding project there, sir?
For the breeding project, I'm going to be going with things I don't know. It is a TK cross with a high octane and the stupid fruits from Humboldt Seed Company. I will be searching the stupid fruits for a nice female, and I will be searching the TK high octane for a nice male. I'm going to use that male on the stupid fruits, but I will also use that male on a Night Terror OG I have to hopefully better the structure, because it's kind of lanky, and when she goes into flower, she needs a lot of support. So hopefully the TK male can actually help with that structure problem that I'm having.
And then what's it called? Stupid fruits?
Yes, the stupid fruits. That is the what is that? I believe that's Reserve OG, Humboldt Reserve OG, and the Asphalt Plant Cross, and it's supposed to have some good OG terps, but it's supposed to be like somewhat fruity also. Yeah.
These names, man, they're crazy. If you had to always incorporate like part of the previous, if you had to incorporate the parents' names into the next, at least a bit of it, geez, that's something wild if that was like the convention. But yeah, so that does bring about this interesting challenge of like, how are we going to figure out a way of, what are the traits that we can identify and then classify and sort of use that as a means of, as the breeding project moves on, we're keeping track of this so you can identify it fairly early on in the plant life cycle and go, okay, that's either, I know that's going to have what I want to continue with, or no, it's not, that definitely doesn't exhibit what I'm looking for.
Okay, well, for myself, for the male that I'm looking for in the TK high octane cross, I'm going to be looking for a male that's kind of on the TK side, kind of short and stout in structure, but sturdy. That hopefully he throws late pollen, not the early stuff. So yeah, that's what I'll be looking for in a male particularly. I'm gonna beat him up a little bit just to make sure he's stable. But yeah. As for the stupid fruits, I don't know what I'm looking for. I'm just going to run them and smoke and see. Well, the smoke test will be the best, and we'll go from there on that.
And then being able to keep keep track of like measurable traits, so things that can be identifiable. So I'm thinking, we do stuff like, okay, leaf structure, and you do thin, medium, broad. And as GMS suggests, we'll mention that we do it as a ratio of length to width of the leaf of the individual leaflets. And we'd say, underneath this ratio, it's broad, or above this ratio, it's broad, under this, etc., etc. So we have a classification for that. Maybe come up with some broad definitions or acceptable sort of flavor or terpene profiles that could be used to say, okay, that's what this has. So we could then, when we look at, everybody can write down according to what they've got against the standard set of trait classifications. So, we can actually see if we've got similar ones in what everybody's growing and be able to teeth back in. And that would allow us then to keep track of how things change and move. So not only do we keep track of like which generation it is as well. I don't know. What do people think? It's all gone deathly quiet for those.
Well, I think that's an imperative. Like, well, I didn't mention the trait I'm going to try to breed for is the deep chunk has this weird thing where it throws roots all over the place. Like it just throws roots off a random branch. Like it doesn't even need water. It doesn't need nothing. It'll just try to root because it wants to root. So I want to see if that, like how unique, I can take a picture right now of just a plant like 3 feet tall and it's growing a little bit of root out the side near the top. It's weird. So I want to see if I can pass that on to other plants because yeah, I dig that.
So a good rooting, easy rooting plant. Good for cuttings.
Yep, that's what I want to pass on. That drive to throw roots. I thought that was really unique. I've never seen that.
Nice. Yeah, because I think that we do need a way of making sure that we're quantifying it as we go along, and that way we can definitely see and track the progress. I think that would be, which is obviously important. Otherwise, I don't know where I am. Hang on, and see if we start off with a bunch of definitions, a bunch of categories for like flavor and colors and things like that we start with, and then to see as the life cycle of the project goes, what new ones we need to add in and ones that stop being used over time. So which ones get replaced with others as it moves on. You suddenly get a new terpene profile appearing that wasn't there in the beginning, because the idea is we just classify what's there to start with. It's not make up 100 categories of what we can pick from. It's just classify what is there. So we start with a list of what we've actually got, and then when we create that first cross, we then classify and we make that pick from that first cross that we're actually going to work with. Then we classify that one in the database and put that in with its traits. So we then know how it's gone through that. It's the only thing we keep a record of is the one that gets used for the next step in the breeding project. So we don't, otherwise we just have thousands and thousands of these things, but it's specifically for what we're looking for. Time up again with the door hanger. Yeah. Tell you
So
what
that
you
plant
need.
will basically be our base plant to start from in the data that we're tracking, right?
Yeah, so we start.
Okay.
So the plants we start with all go into, at least for this, all go in as P1s because that's
Right. But our main
that's
selective, our keeper, our foundation one, like the mother that we're going to work with and the fathers that we're working with, those are the ones that we carry on within the database.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we track their generations in the database. So it's like, okay,
Right.
so
From every time we, make a project with them or do a breeding with them or back cross or whatever, we make sure we keep that data.
Yeah, and if a new one gets introduced, if you bring in a new one, well, then that comes in that would come in as a P1 because that's what it is. It's the first time it's being used. It's it's the new parent, which is essentially what each one of those is. Just so that we know when you're looking at it, okay, in the database, this is nothing that comes before it, in terms of if I end up. It's interesting because you can say, look, I use this as a parent, but I can look at the specific parent that was used and see, oh, okay, this parent that was used is an interbreeding F2 from these two parents. I can actually track its lineage. But in terms of at this point, this was a P1. That's how it was used in the breeding project.
Makes sense.
And then when this was the F2 as a result of these two parents. But something that comes in that you don't know the lineage. It's just ideas of how to all string it together, and then try and make it so we can capture it all, and then hopefully compare the results.
Well, and is it going to be? I'm assuming it's going to be easier. Like me. No, sorry about that, Pete. Hope you're feeling all right. I'm just trying to isolate one trait. I don't want to. I'm going to pick through these old, bag seed, and I really am going to try to whatever I find in that first generation of bag seed. I'm going to try to keep that, whatever it is, if I find a good one, stable, and only introduce, if I can, this ability to root. And I don't know what that's going to take. how much inbreeding I'll have to do once I breed in this ability to root, if I even can. How much then can I diverge from the rest of that father stock?
Yeah. And then there are, yeah, but there's going to be, see, the interesting thing, it's the physical other phenotypic expressions that you can track that tell you that that's what you're, that trait's in the plant. And
I hope.
finding what that correlation is.
Yeah, maybe the best way to go about that is to try and see if there's any kind of a linked trait to having that quick rooting. You know,
If
there's
it's
a
got
lot
a
of
wide leaf and a thick stalk.
actually
Yeah.
within the plant, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so that becomes a thing, is you then say, okay, so, you know, what is linked to what traits produced, you know, what are these traits produced most often? You know, if you see, okay, we often find that broadleaf and always this sort of terpene profile is kind of the most common ones that you would find.
This will allow us to see correlation, not necessarily causation, but correlation.
But sometimes more, yeah, there's a correlation and there's actual links and traits. So like say you want something that's really potent, but the only plant that gives you really potent bud is also showing intersex traits. So you're trying to breed out those intersex traits. But when you breed out those intersex traits, you lose the potency in that. That's the linked trait. So you can't have one without the other. So, you know, it's like it might be an interlinked trait with something that's bad in that plant too, with your heavy rooting. You know, you might get quick rooting, but maybe you have an intersex trait, or it grows really lanky and tall with shitty internodal spacing. So I mean, there's a lot
Yeah, it's
of
more. Yeah, the correlated ones would be if it's got really thin, like let's say with your banana one, for instance, the thin, if it has like really thin leaflets, it's just mildly banana-ish. You know, you can you can get it. It's sort of there. It's not really shouting at home, but as soon as they go broad, that banana sort of hits you in the face. Because the banana's there one way or another, but what's correlating is the leaf width is positively correlating with how strong the banana actually happens to be. So now what you're now looking for plants with broad leaves because you know, okay, hang on, those are the ones with a really strong banana trait in them. The banana is always there. It's just now I'm trying to figure out what amplifies it. What's the, yeah. So and that would be the difference between causation and correlation. Because yeah, those are the other the weird ones, the linked traits where you can't get one without the other.
And we won't necessarily know what those are until we've gone 1 or 2 generations in.
right.
You know, we're not going to know what links to what. For all I know,
Yep.
everything's going to have to look like deep chunk to get that trait. I don't know.
You're gonna have to see enough of that and enough plants to understand that it's even a linked trait, even through generation.
Right?
So
Well, it's going to be a nice 5 to 8 years knowing you all. Get each other on our Christmas card lists and what have you.
and now,
Emergency contacts.
Yeah, and if anybody, you know, when it eventually turns into a line and somebody goes, well, can you tell me anything about this? You just give them the QR code that points to episode 1.
Hey,
Oh
Fuck
yeah,
off,
this
son.
is gonna be a wow, fellas. People don't understand. This is gonna be a real breeding project. This
Yep.
is not putting, you know, shit together and hoping that it works.
it's like we're Moonies and we're all getting mass married together.
I'm keen to see how much variation comes out from what we're doing, or whether we can, you know, and over the course of it would be interesting to, oh, hang on, this looks quite similar to what you've got, and, you know, see where there's any similarities and think, okay, well, keep a hold of that. Oh, well, yeah, this was something we were talking about the other day. Preserving pollen. Maybe somebody in chat knows, people in chat, I don't know, got any ideas on this. But how long can you store pollen for? What's the most reasonable way of storing it? Like, don't tell me you got to keep it at like -40 degrees in liquid nitrogen. You know, yeah, it might be the best, but it's not practical. A little
Hey,
difficult to
Pete,
ship.
okay, look, the way I store mine, I mix with either rice or a little bit of like baby powder, and you can put that in a freezer for it'll last for up to 2 3 years. So far, I can say 3 years definitely. Um, and you can do it either with rice too. It works for 3 years. Just as long as you're not opening a bunch of times. So what I do is I put it in little vials in a bag, separate vials, so I can just pull out the vial that I need. Like because if you open it a lot of times, you're gonna end up getting moisture in it.
Yeah.
I was thinking to do like we do for a lot of preserving of of spices and stuff is you'll add modified starches. So like he's talking about baby powder. Baby powder is usually talcum. I would probably go for straight up food grade cornstarch. That will be super absorbent.
I think that would probably be better also.
Yeah, and that'll be protective. I mean, especially this is going to sound weird, but if you you could either mix it out and then just use that to pollinate your plant, or you could put it together, put a little mix of it on the bottom of the glass container you're going to put in the freezer or whatever, then actually put a layer of plastic wrap and then pour some more cornstarch on top of it as a separation layer. So any crystals that do form of moisture are going to go for that top layer that don't have the vapor barrier. So when you need some, you move that plastic, scoop a little out, put that plastic back down with that nice wad of cornstarch on top of it. You can even hold that down with some rice, like you're saying. And that would be maybe a way to prevent those ice crystals from forming, which I'm assuming are what's going to pop or destroy the pollen.
So you can just keep it in the fridge.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe fridge temps would work too. I don't know. I was thinking freezer, but that's just me. I store everything long term there.
I mean, is it just that you just don't want it to get you don't want it to get wet? That's
right. I would think that the fridge works also because you store your seeds in the fridge.
Yeah, good point. Yeah. Good point.
And you won't you run less risk of, if you're opening and closing the packet occasionally, of getting condensation occurring because of the less extreme compared to like frozen to warm and frozen down again. Because I thought that would make quite a neat way of being able to manage your plant count. Is you have a cooperative of people where everybody has a male in the breeding project, that everybody knows what the traits are from that one. And you can say, oh yeah, I need some of those, and we can just send it to you and go, right, here you go, here's the pollen for that. It'll do what you want. I'm surprised there isn't. Maybe there are. I don't know. Do people trade pollen?
I would recommend, if possible, having like a dedicated refrigerator.
Little beer fridge.
Those small, yeah, like a dorm fridge. If you can, like a taller. The more space, the better. But do what you can with what you have, obviously. Yeah, that's the way I would go. Especially if you have seeds as well, keep it in there.
Any seed whores already have it. All you seed whores out here, that's been
Lefty
buying up seeds. Yes, you have that little separate fridge already. Just go ahead and put your pollen in there with it.
Underground was in my house yesterday. He saw mine.
Yeah. Lefty's a hoarder, man. Lefty has like he has an addiction to seeds. I thought I was bad. No, Lefty's got me beat. Yeah.
Doesn't he have them cataloged?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. He's got them like trading cards, like Lefty's out here playing Magic and shit. Like we all used to have baseball cards.
This one's All right, turn it, activate defense. Nice.
Someone played Yu-Gi-Oh.
I'm ready for the apocalypse. I'm good.
Where's the vegetables? I just have cannabis. Sorry.
I have vegetable seeds too.
Okay.
Yeah, that's another one.
It's a vegetable.
Keeping it for, keeping your vegetable seeds as well. I mean, that's another one. Especially now, seeds. The seed companies are really working double time, if not triple time, on making more seeds for everyone, whether that's cannabis or just vegetables or fruit, whatever. A lot more people are getting interested in horticulture and just at home gardening. Good. I think that's really cool. Everyone has enough time to do that, especially if you have kids. Teach your kids that. teach your kids that. I still remember being in the garden with my grandma, grandpa, and mom. Like those were fucking awesome memories. So if you can get out there, that's great. But yeah, I recommend the fridge as a dedicated space. Just one fridge, not some. If you are cramped for space and money, you can use your fridge that you would use for food. It just keep in mind that whenever you open it, you're changing the temperature. So you want stable long-term temperatures as much as possible. Yeah, that's all I really wanted to add to that. And same thing for the pollen. If you can keep them in the same place, and even like have separate storage bins, like even within, like have 2 or 3 Ziploc baggies worth of separation, just to keep out whatever. It's basically just a backup to reduce RH from coming in. The temperature is already taken care of with the fridge, but it's that RH, the fluctuating RH, is really going to mess with your plant's viability, whether it's pollen or seed.
I use one of those silica desiccant packs.
Nice.
Another way of keeping the humidity down or keeping it dry. Hopefully, not too much. I mean, again, do you have to be cautious of desiccating it too far? Is there an optimal relative humidity to be keeping?
Well, that's what I was bringing up
pollen
the
out?
other day when you brought up desiccant packs, and I was like, that's great for keeping it down low. But then exactly what you were saying was floating around in the back of my head. It's like, well, what about a Bovita pack that's like super low RH, as low as you can get it? We'll say like 30% for discussion's sake. And it's just a constant, instead of being constantly down, have it be a nice fluctuation in between. Like it can handle the ups and it can handle the lows. With the desiccant pack, it can only bring it down. And then it's just about reducing those fluctuations as much as possible.
Do the Bovita packs work at, because it's 30% relative humidity that it keeps it at, or 45 relative, so it's 2 degrees Celsius in your fridge, or 4 degrees Celsius in your fridge. Do they have an optimal, because that's the thing about the desiccant pack, is it just keeps going until it's sucked all the moisture out. Does a Bovita pack work in an optimal sort of temperature range that it needs to be kept in to be able to actually do that kind of relative humidity control? I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't worked with them myself.
I can just going on some. This is going to sound really stupid, but just going on some basic things that we know about pollen, the fact that it has to be lighter than air, we can infer that it has little to no water. Like it's going to have because that just makes a heavy molecule, right? If it can hold water. So the fact that it can travel so far and it can last so long is a pretty good indication that it's an extremely low moisture thing on its own. It probably is literally a protein chain with just enough moisture to maintain its structure. So I would think that, yeah, you could probably drive that humidity down, and I would doubt you're going to desiccate it or destroy it that way, simply because it's got to be so low in moisture in order to be lighter than air.
Bovita packs are only good for like 70 degrees to 65 degrees. Any less than that, they start struggling to maintain that RH. I just Googled it.
Hey, there we go. I mean,
Awesome,
here we are.
Yeah,
Look at the big brain on Tyler.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like
use
to
the
keep,
search engine.
Like Max said, I'd rather use a live male, but over time, some males are hard to keep, dude. Like once you get the males that's 5-6 years old, some of them they get really picky. So yeah, that's where the stored pollen comes in, because males are a lot harder to keep healthy than females.
Did not know that.
It's the first time dealing with them, so it should be interesting.
So underground, have you noticed? So that's just from you cycling from cut to cut to cut,
right? But what I have noticed, males, like if you have a room and you have a stable male that you can have him off to the side and he's not gonna be jittery and start going into flower or anything like that. that you can keep one for a year in a nice size 10-gallon, 15-gallon pot, and just take cuts when you need it. Or that's the best way to do it if you got one like that. But like I said, it's hard to find real good males like that, and after about 5 years, they get iffy. As soon as they hit that root bound mark, it's like, no, we're gonna go pollen anyway, dude. We're coming on. It's like the older they get, the less unstable they get.
Hairpin triggers.
Yeah.
I see the Fumi saying that some males will reach sexual maturity and just start flowering even when taking cuttings, which makes them quite difficult.
Cheers, Fumi.
Like teenagers.
It's always the male.
Definitely.
And then it gets like more cranky when they get
you are
older.
correct. That's why, like, dude, like, I mean, by playing around, I've learned, like, you got to put your males through hell when you really selecting a good male. Other than that, if you're doing like a small selection, just take. My advice is take the one that flowers the latest, if you can. If you're doing small selections, but if you can, put him through hell, flower him out, test that motherfucker out, put him in a 3, 5, 4-gallon pot, and put him in the corner. Don't let him go through a drought. See what he can go through. See what he can take. Because the more stress he can withstand, the longer you'll be able to keep him. Once you just get a healthy cut and you got him, as long as you know he can withstand stress, you'll be able to keep him 5 to 6 years. Like my best male that I've had, it was a 5 to 6 year old male. Once he got that point, he started giving me problems, even though I kept him healthy.
Are you a fan of cutting them down real low too? Of constantly taking that top growth off and keeping them small, like keeping them bonsai?
No, that's why like with me, like even my moms, I'd rather have my moms in 10, 15-gallon pots and recycle them once a year. Or if I'm pushing them hard, if you're like in a commercial setting, recycle them every 3 months or every month. But if you're small like us, dude, recycle your mom once a year. Just have her in a nice, well-lit space where she's getting a lot of air. She's got a decent amount of light on her, and she's got good, healthy growth. Trim her up, every so often, and just take nice cuts off of her.
Yeah.
That way you're not stressing her a lot. Once you got her in a nice, healthy one, you don't have to stress them by taking a cut every single time and recycling them.
Yeah, and then the other thing to do if you're a tip for keeping like mothers going, or I guess fathers going for a long time, if you're doing it in cocoa, I would say, actually it would apply to soil too. Is it like canozyme and enzyme, like GMF was mentioning about the tips of the plants earlier, the enzymes in there potentially because you're going to keep them going for so long, you need to keep the roots fresh, and the best thing for doing that is to break down all the dead root material and have that all gotten rid of. And so using an enzyme, like I'm just using canozyme as an example, there's plenty of others out there, and they're relatively inexpensive actually. That's one additive product that is relatively inexpensive and very effective. And I do believe you can use it in both soil and cocoa, I'm sure. I've used it out in the greenhouse for the chilies, but that's raised bed with predominantly cocoa substrate.
And definitely, I like with my mom's. I'm a fan of foliar sprays. I feel that when you're keeping them that full year, they just get more nutrients within the leaves and the upper parts. Once you use the foliar sprays, it gets them a little bit more healthy. And by you taking the cuttings are a little bit healthier.
Do you foliar often in that case underground, or is it just
my mom's I foliar once a week. Like I do like on Mondays they get fed a nice little Alaskan fish fertilizer or my fish emulsion, my one that I make. Wednesdays I'll come in and then I'll foliar. And then if I have to on Fridays, any stripping or anything like that. But yeah.
Didn't last Monday.
Ooh, that's what she said. Yeah, because that is the thing. The difference in keeping males going and, as you said, keeping mums going. Well, so dads going, I guess, essentially. Different nomenclature to use. Them going. Oh, so a cookie strain then.
Cookie strains are the hardest to fuck. Cookies and Kim, like a Kim strain and veg is not gonna hurt you. A cookie and veg, that bitch, cookies are iffy, especially the form cut. Man, that motherfucker there, dude. Like, oh, I hate that plant. You like, yeah, you gotta be. You want some space if you got a cookies anything, especially the form cut. That plant there, even in veg, will kind of mess you up sometimes.
Yeah, I wonder if that. I mean, yeah, what in terms of it being.
It'll just start throwing hermaphroditic traits. You'll see them early, like that, and the cherry pie kush. I ran that a couple times, like both of them. Yeah, I still haven't found anybody with a cherry pie kush or that doesn't herm. Like that's just the trait of it.
Now that I wonder if that comes from the Durban, because that does have a tendency to be a bit trigger happy on that front.
But see, you know what? The Kim family's like that too, dude. Like the Kim, like, and you won't see it on the Kim. You'll be like trimming up, and then you're getting ready to smoke, and all of a sudden it's just like 2 or 3 seeds out of your pack. And you're like, what the hell? Like I know I checked it. I didn't see anything, but yeah, you get it.
I see Bugs in chat saying that it doesn't herm outdoors, which is again interesting because I think what Durban, I mean, just make a correlation. What I found with Durban was 2 light leaks, and you some opening closing like the landrace Durban, that it doesn't particularly like you doing that. And of course, outdoors, you don't have that problem. You don't have the sun suddenly turning on 3 hours after it went off. Just blip. Oh, shit. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Timer went out for a minute there.
Okay, he's saying the cookies doesn't harm. Like I've never run the form outside, so yeah.
I mean, I just would be interesting to see if that's like there's just the.
It might be. I know you don't get it on the cherry pie when you run in a greenhouse like that. The lowers may get it, but not anything prominent. None of the tops.
Well, I'd love to throw a monkey wrench into the conversation. What we're talking about all these herms and stuff. How much of it would even be possible if we like all of these expressions if it didn't have a herm expression? Like would we still have all this?
In my opinion, if the breeders before us worked the lines correctly, we wouldn't have those problems. If we did, it would be very, very, very slight. Like
sure.
It wouldn't be the masses talking about, hey, I got a herm out of this, pack. It wouldn't be like what we're seeing right now. It's ridiculous.
I 100% agree that there should have been more like looking into botany and horticulture for those people underground. Like, yeah. It's unfortunate.
I think what it is a lot of us will take that. We'll make an exception because it's fire. Like, okay, everyone can agree Kim 91 is fire. That's like, if you got it in your garden, you've got some, that's one of the top 5. But you'll make that, exception to keep it around because it is that fire. And you don't want to change it up, but so much with your breeding on it. So you're like, well, if I do work it out, maybe it's weak as hell. So you don't know. You might have to keep that one. In my opinion, you don't put it out there. That's not the one you breed with. You find one of the sisters or something like that can be the better breeder, but still has that potency. Maybe a little less, but
Yeah, you leave it out on its own separate line.
Right. That's your personal stash because okay, this one here I can't put out to the masses, but her sister's just as good.
So now, does it stand up to does this? I mean, I've never come across it, never had it, wouldn't know. I mean, does it, for all of its foibles, and quirks, does it stand up to it? I mean, is it worth it? Is it a case of if this was any other market, if this was growing flowers or growing chilies or growing some other product,
It's
given
going to stand up because look at all the other ones that come off of it. Also, it's not only is it fire, it produces fire continuously. Like
mm,
if you look at anything that Kim has been bred with, just about you're going to get fire, motor breath, GMO.
and
If you hit it with
cookies,
yeah, I mean yeah, it's in the cookies with the GMO, the GMO plus what is it? I forgot which one it is, but it's GMO crossed with cookies. It's something crossed with cookies, and that gave it's Kim crossed with cookies that gave you GMO. Motor Breath 15 is SFV crossed with Kim. You got I mean it's fire, dude. No matter
Howard,
what you hit it with, you're gonna get fire. But that's the exception. It's like, do you take that and know that you're possibly putting out, hermaphroditic genetics, or do you work with a different form of it, one of the sisters, and not get the same results, but
so is
something
is
similar?
that so is where I'm getting at is that kind of differences, like if this was like chilies, what they would have actually done is they would have gone, all right, now hang on, the regulation would have said you can't release this crap into the wild because you're putting genetics out there that we don't want kind of getting out in the wild, where you've got to keep that crap under wraps and work it until it's stable and then let it out and then you can go for it. But because we don't have that kind of regulation here, you can release stuff prematurely, which in a in a market that regulated this kind of entry would actually say, this is the bit that would do it. What am I getting at? The brain just switched off. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, so the cookies would what it should be worked if they could work it for longer. But of course, yeah, we can just go, oh yeah, hang on, it's the fire, let it loose, and then suddenly, as you're saying, everything that's breeding with it, which means there's loads of all these strains that now have this dodgy genetics, which yes is great, but it carries this horrible
I think
potential trigger in it,
part of
trip
the
in it.
genetic though, Pete. If you think about it, I think it's really part of the genetic, because when you go back at it, I mean, everything I've listened to and saw and heard about people who work with land races are some of the most hermaphroditic plants that there are.
They're designed to survive.
Yeah, and then so people are actually taking them and working them into heirlooms. Well, kind of what most breeders started with was heirlooms that came here, and that's what the heirlooms are what created the camp dogs, the skunks, the stuff like that, and that's where your Hermy plants are from. I mean, all those good early plants were all Hermy plants, and they can only be worked so far, but it's part of that genetic. And how many people we chem and still cannot? I mean, I got a chem dog cross, and no matter what I do, I always have 1 or 2 seeds in that plant. You never see it; it's always there. Same thing with sour diesel. All this shit came from herm plants. The best stuff comes from herm plants. So how much do you want to work with stuff to work that out, and maybe it being a linked trait to how fire everything is, and a little.
Well, that would be, yeah. I mean, that's the thing is, but then you have to work this for another, again, that's the point. You're going to work that line for like another 10 years to figure it out. Hey, Keith, how's it going, buddy?
Going great, man. How about y'all?
Very good, very good.
I kind of figured some of the farms out west being able to run the numbers, or down in Spain being able to run the numbers that they can, that somebody would have worked it out. But it's like, they're not even trying to.
Yeah. Because I guess, I mean, but this is the thing is, then you have to find something that's kind of innocuous. You go, well, it doesn't really bring anything, but it's as stable as fuck. Okay, so let's cross that with those cookies and see if we can try and. So you're probably going to have to breed like a number of lines where you stabilize specific traits. You get like that particular bit and you've got it stable, that particular bit and you've got it stable, and then you have to bring them all together at the end to get back.
But then we got another problem because okay, with Kim, we don't even know what the fuck it is. It was a bag seed. Like most of these, top fire ones were bag seeds. So
no idea.
Yeah, so that's where you got a problem. You don't even know what it is. Your hope. I mean, even okay, if we look at the TK, no one knows what that is. No one knows what Kim is. No one really knows what sour diesel is. They suspect that the Kim hermed or the Bubba. They don't even know who hermed. They just know that they found a seed in it, and it was that's where the stories come down to. When you go, so no one really knows what the hell none of these top genetics are.
Jesus, it's such a
But
fucking
we're making
problem that Phylus
we're making
fucked it, man. They
yeah,
screwed
but
the
we're making
pooch so
guesses.
hard.
Mm.
Makes me wonder how many like world famous heirloom strains have just exploded in my joint,
Yeah.
Entirely
Being
true.
thrown from car windows.
You're like, oh, fuck, here goes fucking $50 million, because I had the fucking unicorn.
Like, think about it though, dude. Like, okay, if you listen to what JJ said, they found the fucking sour D's because he was growing as one of the skunks, and he ended up getting a Kim. And Kim, when he went out to one of the Dead concerts, and he got some puck, and in the puck it had the Kim. He had some 6 seeds, so he popped them, and he finds the Kim. Later on, he finds the sister and the D. Like everything, the TK, they found it in a backseat down in Florida. All of these are bag seeds, every single one.
Yeah. And then yet people knock bag seed.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that you can really say that was definitively worked was what Neville and them were doing with the Northern Lights, or what the guys were doing over in Seattle, Greg and them. What their work, some of them were doing work, but other than that, a lot of stuff was backseat, and that's the top stuff that was being run and still being run.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's just it. I think this, that there's this really high bits that are being chased, but there are people still doing the old stuff. I think 2021 turn to the old school. People
You have to. You got to get back into that old gene pool, man, to start going some new directions, start creating some new flavors, bring back some of the old flavors. Just, yeah, that's what I like. I think that's where a lot of people are starting to head back to that old shit, man.
Good all-round
reinvigorate that gene pool.
Go ugly weed.
Yeah, go back to that, and then just cycling through over and over.
I like ugly weed.
You got to think it was ugly for back in the day, but nowadays we have the optimal conditions. Like, I wonder what it actually looks like.
Plus, think about it. We've had selection over that many years, so it came like with Pete's Poison. He found that, and it was probably ugly as hell until he worked it a couple of times, and after selection, it looks it's nice to us now.
Yeah, maybe I think that would be nice to see. Are people going to start saying, hey, like that post? I guess it'd be kind of similar to maybe the post alcohol prohibition, where it's all just been hard tack, get fucked off your face. Now it's legal again. It's still kind of, hey, we can get really fucked off our face legally, but at some point it's like ease off the pedal a little bit and go, hang on, I want something that's a little bit more all-rounded and not just completely, how high can I get on the THC? There's actually a bit more to this, and the buzz gets a bit more interesting if we mix it with some of the other chemical profiles, cannabinoids.
I've always heard it referred to as the moonshine mentality. When it was illegal, you get the most bang for your buck that you possibly can, and people are still shopping with that mentality.
Right, because you got to think, when you're making moonshine, you want to be the top moonshine maker in the neighborhood, because you're in the black market. You're trying to get rid of it. You ain't trying to hold that shit. I mean, that's just what it is. So it's the same thing. When you're growing under, in the underground area, it's the same way. You want to have the best if you're around a bunch of growers. If you out in Indiana, you can grow some garbage and get rid of it regardless. But when you in certain areas, you can't do that. If you in Cali, you can be holding that shit for years.
Well, and that's the comparison to the bourbon maker. He barrels it, he waits, he judges when it's ready, or she.
Yeah. And Keith, sorry I'm terrible of me right now. Are you joining in on the breeding project, or are you observing on the breeding project?
Fill me in here. What am I signing
Total
up
deer
for?
in headlights.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm
Well, it's an
actually
8-year commitment.
okay. What do you guys
He just
need?
asked you to marry him.
Number, bank account. What?
Social
When do I get
security
my money
number.
back?
Mass married together for the next 5 to 8 years. We're all getting married as a group.
No, it's the well, everybody's doing yeah, we talk about breeding and plant breeding, etc. So we thought, oh, we'll put our money where our mouths are, and some of us already do it, others it's the first time round, and then to actually run it through, and people have picked various bits and people, and people have picked various strains that they want to start with, have an idea of what they want to do with them, and then document and track the whole thing. Follow that whole process. Track what traits are going down the line, what follows through, what ones we start to pick for, are there commonalities? Yeah. And I keep saying this almost every week. It's something I really must fucking do it. And hopefully as actually the program progresses, like genetic fingerprinting becomes more readily accessible, and then everybody can get their shit fingerprinted, and then we can actually compare all of them and see if there's any interesting commonalities. At that point we realize, damn it, we've all just made the same thing.
Yeah. No, I really I'm very interested. I'm not sure. I'm like right now in my setup, no fucking way I could do it like as bad as I want to. There's no fucking way. But in a few weeks, I am upgrading my premises. I'm gonna have some more space. So,
Oh, nice.
Let me get settled in and see where I'm at. Would I need to grow my own males, or would we all be working with the same pollen, or what?
Oh no, it's grow your own males. It's people selecting for their own. This is doing the selective breeding for your own purpose. So actually, like kind of having an idea of what you're trying to get out of it. And we're sort of starting it in January. You don't have to start straight away. This is a long. This will run for ages. I think we'll have side bits and pieces that go with it, because to do this properly, it will run for quite some time. And some people are further along the line than others. So almost from the word go, we've got people talking about stuff they've done, others who are starting up. So you might be cracking seeds in the 3rd week of January, for all we know. It doesn't really matter. It's being part of that sort of the journey and that experience, and everybody sort of learning as they go.
Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be popping some seeds in January. So if the first phase of this thing is going to be a pheno hunt, I will absolutely be on board for that, man. So
yeah,
I've been talking to some people, man. I might have some pretty cool strains. So yeah, that'll be fucking cool, man. I'll play along as well as I can.
Yeah, no, I think that's going to be the case for everybody. We're all going to be learning as we go, so it should be interesting. As we were talking earlier, there's going to be the challenges of keeping males going for extended periods, which normally is not what we're doing. And also looking for a male as opposed to cutting it to keep it rather than to cut it down and throw it out. It's a slightly different mental approach.
Yeah, bro. You basically just asked if you're like, hey, we're all going to start training for a fucking Ironman, 1,000-mile triathlon, bro. You want to hop in? And I'm like, sounds really cool, but it's going to take me 10 years of hard work to get good at it. Fuck.
I would say it's more like joining a cult, but sure.
Yeah.
I see Duckweed's curious about a part 2 to the great debate. Yeah, we should definitely do one. We've got to think of what the next topic would be from what came out of that. There was certainly some interesting bits and pieces that we could approach and do as a second one in there.
We still haven't really even talked about where we all land on that shit, because I've had time to marinate on it now, and I've kind of gone back and forth a few times. I don't know. That's some messy stuff we got into. Messy.
Oh, it was good though.
We didn't even touch
Definitely.
on regulation. So
No.
we're nowhere near the messiest part of it all. Yeah.
And it certainly fired up some emotions in the comments. You know, it was great to see it. So
That was the hope, I think. Really,
yeah, absolutely. That was definitely the plan.
it's very
To get people
satisfying.
talking about it.
Well, and the real question comes down to, we'll never really have an answer that works for everyone, but at least we can get people thinking about the subject, and that's the real goal.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I do stand firmly on the side of, you know, it should be regulated to the you know, just like anything else. You know, it's makes it keeps it fair for people, and make sure that people get what they deserve at that point. I think it's just a regulation to you guys is something of an anomaly.
And that's where right now I think I tend to fall on that side. I'm with everyone who says, you know, keep the plant free, and, you know, keep it kind of like treat it like
still is free.
restaurants.
It's just down
you know,
to
you want mom and pops to enter the business, put as many low bars to entry as possible. Doesn't mean you'll have a lot of bad ones, sure, but they'll go away.
But as you move up that food chain, you start to have to adhere to certain additional regulations. There's a big difference between the mom and pop serving food and a one little store and the nationwide food chain. You know, that's held to a much higher standard of food prep, you know, et cetera, and all aspects of the business are fucking.
Have you been to an American McDonald's? They are not held to things called standards.
Again. This first world, third world classification is becoming a little sketchy with you guys.
I kind of feel like this. Let the mom and pops, the small farmers, do the rec thing, right? We already basically have a medical establishment of the corporations. Let them do their thing as the medical establishment and do their thing. But as for the rec, let the mom and pops get in and do their thing. And if they want to be like the Walmart mom and pop, then you got to regulate them a little harder. They got to spend a little more. But if they're just that mom and pop in their one little area, you know, selling out the food stand with the fruits and vegetables, okay, then, you know, that's cool. Give them a low entry to barrier where they have to pay taxes, but they got to pass tests. Everyone has to pass tests if they want to play. I mean, that way, you know, you're getting a quality product that passed the regular test that everyone has to pass.
And you just make it, you know, the test that the bigger organizations need to pass, just they just become a little bit more rigorous.
Right.
You know, there's less room for error. You should have better processes in place to do it, essentially. Because what you don't want, I mean, it's just this idea, you know, it's fine if you pass some dodgy genetics between you and your mates, but when you suddenly put it out in the mass market, that's what you want to prevent happening. And that's what the flower industry or the normal horticulture industry, that's what that regulation is there to prevent happening. It's to prevent you going, oh yeah, I got this new plant I want to put in the market, and it's just suddenly introduces chaos. And they're like,
well, the hemp industry is learning that. They're learning the hard way over here. Trust me, it's a couple of farms that sued a couple of big companies about these seed situations. Because last year alone, dude, it was ridiculous to where supposedly you would get one male out of some of these films out of 4,000 seeds. That didn't happen on a couple of farms. Yeah, it was far higher. Let's just say that guy lost a lot of acreage. So yeah, they're starting to be held accountable now.
Yeah. Hey Tyler, you gotta jump, buddy.
Yeah, I gotta go cook dinner.
Hungry mouths to feed.
Yep, always, man.
Time to go eat snow.
It's raining and shitty outside. There's no snow. Eat mud.
There we go, mud pies.
Minerals. It's got some nutrition value.
It's organic. Yeah, exactly. Boosts the immune system.
Well, it's good
Stay
seeing you,
safe,
Tyler.
dude.
Good seeing
I
you
hope
guys.
you're feeling better, bud.
Yeah, thanks, man.
You look.
All right, dude.
Cheers.
Have a good one, bro.
Yeah, I think exactly. That's it, and that's where it will And that's what it's really just about. If you're going to play and start doing stuff en masse, it's like, hey, we've got to just keep check of this. You can't just go crazy out there. But at a small scale, yeah, sure, play around with it, have some fun. That's where all the cool stuff happens. I mean, all the I think we were talking about the other. I forget where it was. We were chatting about, but like the jetpack guy that you see flying around. That started off as a shed experiment. I mean, ballsy guy.
Yeah, it was a dude in his backyard, like, hey, I'm gonna
Yeah.
fly, and broke
So,
down a couple lawnmowers.
And he's now got a business off the back of it. So the same way that you can fuck around at home and create some kind of the next fire strain, and then you make sure it's stable and ready to go to market, like he did with the jetpack. You don't just take the first one and go, "Oh, everyone, strap one of these ones." As somebody said, yeah, profits are soaring straight through the roof. They crash about 20 minutes later.
Yeah, I'll say this as a tinkerer, and Black Sail might be able to back me up on this. There's no level of satisfaction like tinkering with something and then having it work. Like, I remember when I built my own draft system, there was no way. My patent attorney's like, "There's no way you can afford to defend this." I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm just happy I did it." So I don't know, Black Sail. How's that new light coming along? Can we ask, or is that hush hush? Did I just make a faux pas?
No, it's coming along great, man. I've got probably like one improvement I'm gonna make, one little part I want to add, and but other than that, man, I mean, I've been running them for a few months, and they're holding up exactly the way I wanted them to. So
nice.
Yeah, I'll probably have them out like in March.
Awesome.
Yeah. So it's different in the light game. Don't let anybody lie to you, dude. Like nothing we do is that complicated. Like you've got
complicated.
You've got a cob, a heat sink, and a driver, or you've got a board of mid-power diodes, a heat sink, and a driver. You know what I mean? Like I laugh when people are like, "Oh, you copied my light," or like, "Oh, these people take my idea." It's like your idea is like fucking peanut butter and jelly, bro. Like that's not the hard part.
Well, funny you say that. That's why my attorney explained to me that's why people don't get patents, because if it's obvious in any way, shape, or form, that is an immediate disqualifier.
Yeah, and unless you come up with something truly fucking unique, don't play that game.
Yeah.
Because you got to be prepared. As I say, you just got to be prepared to defend it. So because you've got deep pockets to go out and defend it.
So now I have a really cool draft system that no one else will use.
Copywriting the plan or ideas is different, though.
Yeah, I feel like the hard part is just consistently providing a quality product at a fair price and promoting yourself and promoting your brand for years and years until everybody knows you and trusts you, and then they'll buy your shit.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's interesting, I must say, what I do find is like, I do look at it and I go, yeah, lights, and lights sell, because the one thing about lights is you can see them. You know what I mean? It's that one bit, and like when it comes to something like environment monitoring, it doesn't come in a sexy, bright, sparkly, like wow. Turn it on and it goes. Yeah, it's a totally different kind of product to sell, and it's a different challenge. How do you make people realize that it's as important as I would actually say if not more important than
the way
than
it
the
is,
lights.
Pete, you gotta wait until you get your app up to where everybody can show it on their phone and everybody's in legal states with it, because then you can walk around with your homies and be like, "Look, dude, my room is in check and your room is some shit because you don't even know what the fucking temperature is." Ha ha! And just walk away.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's got to make that's making data cool. That's a hell of a challenge.
It's visuals, dude. It's visuals.
Yeah, trying to come up with some new expressive ways of showing it.
Just means, Keith, you talked about, do you have, it's in use right now, right? So you can't show us a picture of it or anything?
Yeah, you know what? Fuck it. I'll show you guys.
Yeah, Okie Grower asked, so I like to always give the chat their say. They are the basis of this show.
Yeah, no, I was gonna tell him like, yeah, I'll show you some shit.
Yeah,
I
show
just
us your
didn't want to
shit.
like, I didn't want to turn the show into my fucking infomercial. But yeah, if you guys want to see, if you can see that picture, okay, that is my veg tent, my 2x4, fucking wall to wall. And that's cleared out. I flipped those, so I've actually got one that I'm not using.
Got your back, Okie Grower.
It is,
Try
folks.
to pay attention.
It's the plank.
Yes, sir. It's the plank. So, you know, it's set up with the driver, set up like the Canon, where you've got the remote driver and 6 feet of cord so you can run the driver outside. And then it's got 432 Samsung LM561Cs on there. So it's 150 watts. They're all running at around 50%. And it's on a thick, beefy heatsink. The heat sinks are going to be black. I couldn't get the black anodizing on the samples, but on the production model, they're going to be black because I want to stay on brand. But yeah, I mean, that's it. Board, heatsink, driver.
Yar, walk the plank, matey.
But yeah, man, it's going to be, it's 150 watts. It pulls 2.3 micromoles per joule, and I'm going to be selling it for $250. So
nice. Congrats.
Canacrat asking you to hit him up. Yeah, dude. Actually, the Canacrat, I do believe, has a minder, so that's fine. Yeah. I'll pass on the
Canacrat's
message.
a great dude. He's good peoples, man.
Can't come onto my show and buy other people's shit.
Yeah, wait a minute. Yeah.
Excuse me, guys.
You got to check out Underground.
No, I was telling him I'm gonna need 2 of those lights. That's what
you're gonna need 2.
Yeah.
He's not bouncing.
Yeah, I ain't
He's-
no,
I think
I'm
This
he's
wasn't for the
warning
chat.
you.
This was for us.
Yeah.
Oh, I just sent him an invoice for 2 minders. Oh well.
Nice.
Underground, what's your IG? Are you on Instagram or?
Yes, sir. Underground Organics Farm.
All right.
You're also on the chat with him, I think, too, in the Google Hangout we got.
Sweet.
I could have used those about a month ago.
It wasn't ready.
Why not? I'm just saying, that's why I said I could have used them.
Yeah. Your height requirements.
Walk in that place. with
Wow,
machete.
57 people watching. Impressive. Hope everybody's having a good day, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you happen to be. Yeah. Yeah, actually, I think we're sort of drawing towards the end. I mean, it's an hour and a half we've been going for, and we'll get into the after show hangout. So, yeah, at this point, if anybody in chat would like to join us for the after show hangout, where, hey, it's not live anymore, doesn't mean it's not recorded. In case any of you decide to get into politics at some point.
But Pete does work blue. Just be forewarned.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, feel free. There's the link. You're welcome to jump in and join us as we get ready for the after show. But on that note, let's have a quick wrap up. Lefty, where can everybody find you, sir?
Lefty's Farm on Instagram and Lefty's Farm on Cannabis.
Excellent. Raptor.
Everyone can find me on Instagram at RaptorGrow.
Nice. Are you on Cannabuzz as well, or just on Instagram?
Yeah, I'm on Cannabis as well. I just need to update everything and might even put I'll have to be familiarize myself with everything. But I have a couple of mushroom videos where I'm working with agar. So I thought that'd be cool, like to just plop on there. And yeah, basic. I was gonna put all my old stuff on there, but I'd just rather start anew and yeah, I'll just see what they have to offer. But yeah, I've had it for a while. I just need to update content, and I thought the agar work would be really cool to start off with.
Nice. Excellent. Excellent. I see. Oh, yeah. Fumi's also doing a shout out for Brews and Buds tonight.
Yeah, yeah.
Tomorrow night, not tonight.
Yeah, that's at
Yeah, you
7
missed
p.m.
it.
Pacific Standard Time, Brews with Buds on Fumador and the Flavors YouTube channel. Hope you can all join us. Lots of fun, lots of laughs.
I have no idea what time that's
Oh, yeah.
at on local time. Candy, you can try join again. Sorry, he joined and then disappeared. Yeah. Black Sail, Keith, where can I find you? Sorry, I'm trying to go down this on this screen, not looking at it. Where can we find you, Keith?
You can find me on Instagram or on Cannabis at Black Sail Market or at blacksailmarket.com. And every Thursday on the Embracing Organic show.
Yeah. And when can we actually expect those lights to come to market? Do you have an estimated drop day?
Yeah, I'm hoping to have them ready in March.
Okay, excellent.
Yep.
Well,
It's a
I'm
a
gonna
damn
get you in
shame.
Oh, sorry.
Go
Go
ahead.
I was going to get you in trouble. Do you have a pre-order date in case people are interested?
Yeah, man, I will. I'll definitely offer some pre-orders. And
Bazinga.
I'll probably do a discount on them as well. So yeah,
I just got you in trouble.
I'm moving. I'm moving. I've got like just a bunch of like shit to get settled with, and then I'll probably start ordering the parts like in February, and the lights will be available in March. Believe me, man, I'm fucking stoked about it, and I'm getting them out as fast as I can. But if I tried to do a new light right now in my apartment, I would be like, I would have to like stack heat sinks under my pillow or something. Like, I don't know where the fuck I would put them. Because I'm already just kind of like, I don't know. My friend said he was building this new space and it was gonna be like a grow like yoga space, everything all feng shui and shit. And I was like, dude, my place is so tiny. I'm more like a grow contortionist. I'm like, I got my foot behind my head. I'm laying by my back, like trying to fucking trim leaves, and it's a nightmare. But yeah, soon, very soon.
Excellent, excellent. Looking forward to it, man. It's a damn shame about there's no Indo in January. Fuck. To be honest, I'm pissed. I'm not going to be able to get over there. But maybe June, July, everything will be back to being able to travel a bit, seeing as we got the fucking vaccine. I'd be able to come over. Get over there where it's not cold and snowy. Maybe when it's green, it'd be quite nice.
Yeah, I mean Dave's gone, but me and Tanasi would fucking love to see you, man.
Yeah, it'd be a good laugh, man. Be damn shit. So annoying. Fuck it. GMF, where can everybody find you, sir, on social media and thereabouts?
Typically Instagram, but I should probably get over to, Cannabis as well. But yeah, just typically hit me up on IG if anybody, I got nothing to sell. I got, if anyone just wants any questions answered, I can be useful to anyone. If anyone's got food questions, what have you, hit me up. Happy to be helpful. That's basically all I got.
Fantastic. And Underground?
You can catch me on Instagram and YouTube at Underground Organics Farm. Cannabis at Country Boy VA.
Fantastic. Excellent. And you can get hold of me at Operation Grow 2019 on Instagram, or Peel Grow Systems also on Instagram. And if you're interested in the Minder unit, DM me on Instagram, Peel Grow Systems. And yeah, still currently free postage. Get one in before Christmas. You have to order soon if you want it before Christmas, though. Especially if you haven't been in the States, you're going to have to order real soon. But yeah, remember, keeping an eye on your plants isn't just for the weekend. And on that note, as I said, join us in the after party. More than welcome to. So yeah, cheers everybody. Have a great weekend and enjoy Fumador. Well, no, Buds and Brews, Brews and Buds, whatever it happens to be. Fuck, I've had too much cider. Anyway,
Bruises,
later.
bud.
Cheers.
Have a good
I'm
one.
out.